Bonjour à tous.
Hello to all of you.
Bonjour mesdames, bonjour messieurs.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Admiral, thanks to be with us. Jean-Louis, you were heading a submarine and you directed the maritime forces in the Pacific. So we're far away from health here. The theme today of CHAM, these 2 days, is performance and quality, relevance and quality. And thanks to Guy, we have 15 minutes to talk about the strength of the crew. When we told me the strengths of the crew, I wondered if there was not a Butlerian, romantic, or Lamartine dimension. It's far away from these, so we're gonna dive deep for 15 minutes, but it's not so different because the strengths of the team is very romantic and beautiful, but we're going to be on performance and quality of the crew. It's evident that, it's obvious that when you're in a submarine, a nuclear submarine, for 90 days, I think, when you prepared this interview, you told me that it's 12 weekends. 12 weekends is how your wife counted that. You dive deep for 90 days, and so there's a preparation before and after, and rightly so. I think it's and you can't get it wrong. There's no margin of error. You cannot disembark people like if they're unhappy. You're going to talk together about the personality and the ability to work together, the training of a team. I think it's an important factor. Yesterday, around the Airbus interview, we saw that AI could help a lot. We're not going to be on AI here. We're going to be more on the human factor, the collective factor, and what lessons can we draw? What are the possible correlations with the improvement of medical care, and when teams is built to be delivering high performance and high quality services on the human and scientific level. So simply, we have some time. I'm going to ask you first, what's a nuclear submarine first? Because an A355 Airbus, people have been on a plane. I've been on planes. Nuclear submarine, I haven't been in any submarine, actually, for that matter. So it's very specific. So to put it back into context, this team working like almost 90 days, completely independent and in autonomy, it's fascinating. Tell us about it. We're going to start like the Anglo-Saxon with a little joke. It's two sardines that see a submarine pass by, and one sardine says to his colleague, "Look, people in a can, humans in a can." So I'm going to tell you what's in the can. It's a fighting vessel that navigates under the sea, more than 100 meters, hundreds of meters below sea level. It's also like the submarine is not like a plane. It's like a zeppelin because it's lighter than water, and it goes. It's above ground, but at a low level above ground. And so the submarine, it's hundreds of meters under the sea level. Why? Why is that? Simply because every 10 meters, those who do some diving here in this room, they know it. Every 10 meters, you increase an atmosphere, so the pressure increases very fast. When you're 100 meters, you have 10 times the atmospheric pressure on the body, and so it's going to contract. The body's going to contract. When you're in a big submarine, even a small one, as you go deep, gradually it contracts. The body contracts when you go. Sorry for the detail. When you go to the bathroom, you close the door, and it dives. And in certain immersions, it's hard to open the door because it is compression. And the door gets blocked, and you had to wait for the submarine to be able to open the bathroom door. So we corrected these elements with different works. We reduced the height of the doors. Now everything is fine. We can get out of the bathroom. But this kind of detail are physical notions, physics notions. So another thing that's capital. The submarine is directed by instruments. constantly. The light doesn't penetrate through the water. Those who've been diving realize that it gets dark very quickly. Even in the clearest day in the Mediterranean, it's rare that we have some light at 70 meters below sea level. So the light doesn't penetrate. So contrary to Jules Verne, the Nautilus doesn't have any window because there's nothing we can see. So we have an aquarium to see fish, but that's it. So the electromagnetic waves doesn't spread through the water. The only thing the only thing we get is sound. So we're like blind people working with the ear, with sound only. The sound spreads in a very, very unpredictable way. The electromagnetic waves, radio, the sight, radar, sonar, goes in a straight line, whereas sound waves go in curves. And the curve changes in function of the temperature, water temperature, salt level, and pressure. So it's very complicated pathways, difficult to predict, even though computers help us do that. So you have a lot of shade, and so the work in submarines is to use to find hiding spaces. It's a fighting vessel that's trying to get closer to its target without being spotted, detected. And that's why it stays under the water. That's why the narco traffickers use submarines, because it's very hard to spot them. So the Ukrainians, in the war in Ukraine, used submarine drones to attack the Kerch bridge so that they wouldn't be spotted until the last phase of approach. So we're going to try to find hiding spaces, shaded areas. So electromagnetic waves don't spread, so no radars. So when you want to attack someone, you can have to be indiscreet. And so we're going to distinguish two types of submarines: the attack submarines and those who engine launchers. The fighters and the bombardiers. So the fighters, they're attack submarines, like Order 2. Those submarines are 2,500 tons. We have the smallest one in the world. We'd like them to be a bit bigger. So the new generation is going to be twice the weight, 5,000 tons. The first two, the Suffren is already in service, and the Duguay 3 is in trial, is in test period. So we're replacing those small submarines. We can have bigger vessels. Why? So for these fighter submarines, they're quieter, easier to isolate or to reduce noise when you have more space, and bigger because you can carry more weapons. These submarines, these new kind of submarines, are able, like their predecessors, to attack vessels with torpedoes or missiles like the Exocet, which was used in the Falkland War, and they can embark another kind, the Scalp missile, or its submarine version, which will be a missile that you can launch against land objectives with high precision degrees that you've seen on TV. So there's a volume of weapons that can be carried that's more significant, and so you had to increase the size of the submarine. It can also project people on ground. It can participate to landings. These are special forces. So those of you have seen of tales of the World War II and special operations to bring agents or retrieve them is very hard. So you can bring swimmers, people that with propellers, or bring them closer to the shore, and then you retrieve them once they finish their operations. Again, go see the Chant du Loup, so the wolf's song, and so you have a great sequence in this movie in the preview that describes this kind of special special operations. So let's move on to the crew now. We could spend hours. It's crazy. It's a crazy thing. But since we cannot, you have to prepare for everything. How do we select those crew members? They have to work together how do you select them? The first one, they have to volunteer. We only have volunteers, people who want to do that. You're young people, young men and women now. The new, we can embark women now on these new generation submarines. And they can be on these bombardiers. And so these are young people, volunteers, and they're going to follow a long training. There are more thousands of trades, 50 different trades, and thousands of certifications. So this individual training that's given in the schools for several months. It can be a whole school year for the most complex trainings. So this is the initial training. They're assessed. It's given out by professionals. And there's an assessment, there's an evaluation to give a green or red light. Second conditions, they're trained on the submarine. We evolve in a hostile environment, so they're going to be advanced security issues, trainings, to perform security drills, and we can put them in a team, in a crew. When they're dispatched on the submarine, they do it after a training period, and so they do a trial period. They get into teams, some teams to steer the submarine, some to detect enemies, and propulsion. And each time you have a team that's dispatched on one part of the submarine, and we've trained them on simulators, and they're observed by people who have done this job. We take the best, and they're gonna assess their peers on these platforms. And then we can try to get the teamwork going. Okay, so that they get to know each other, they get to know the flaws and of the others, and so when they get together, there needs to be a team cohesion already in place. And so when you have a team that shows weakness, we can transfer people from one team to the other to improve team performance, so that you have a homogeneous team. So we need the three teams to be homogeneous and to have cohesion already when they start. And so when operations are more complex, they do 6-hour shift. Half of this, and so in all these situations, they have to rely on each other. They need high levels of trust. We create a team spirit, the crew spirit, the team spirit. But the game lasts weeks, months. So these teams have to be lasting and enduring. That's very, very important. And the foundation is skill. And then there's life on board. Life on board, the foundation is respect of the other. Respecting your body, not to push it, not to respect its rest, when he eats, in any function, his opinions, religion, respecting the other's philosophies and approach. We don't talk politics before we get to the cheese, because you could get people angry. There are other contentious issues, but be careful about each other. Be listening until you perceive their mood swings. You cannot throw people off board, because they become unbearable. So you have to stay with people. So you can take care of people, and when people have mood swings, and you're going to try to distract, you're going to invite them to play, or avoid people getting into isolation and people who skip meals or get late when there's a team switchover. And so people have to be able to express themselves. That's very important, and to express what they feel. I think we understood well the importance of collective and human factor and the collective factor, and it's going to give us a lot of food for thought for our health system. The cohesion is trust and respect. That's a big change from our health system. Thank you.